She died giving birth to a child that was never born. And for over 300 years, she has been coming back for the ones who took that from her, mothers, husbands, and anyone foolish enough to walk alone past a banana tree at dusk. They call her the Pontianak, and in 1965, in a small village outside Pontianak City, Borneo, an entire wedding party would learn exactly why the region was named after her. Long before 1965, before the village, before the wedding, there was already a name whispered across the islands of Indonesia and Malaysia, a name mothers used to keep their children indoors after sunset. The Pontianak, sometimes called Kuntilanak, a woman who died in childbirth or was murdered while pregnant and whose grief and rage never left the earth with her. By day, witnesses claimed she could look like an ordinary woman, pale, beautiful, dressed in white, her long black hair falling past her waist. But she was known by a smell before she was ever known by sight. The sweet scent of frangipani flowers, drifting through the air with no flowers in sight. Villagers said that scent was a warning. If it turned foul, the smell of rot underneath the sweetness, she was already close enough to strike. At night, she revealed what she truly was. Her back would split open, exposing a hollow cavity where her organs should be. Her nails grew into claws, and she hunted with a singular, horrifying purpose, to take from the living what had been taken from her. Pregnant women, newborn children, men who had wronged women, or simply men who wandered too close. She was said to nest inside banana trees, which is why, across rural Indonesia and Malaysia, families would drive a nail into the trunk of a banana tree near their homes. Legend held that if you could hammer a nail into the base of her neck, she would turn back into a gentle woman and could be kept, controlled, even married. Remove the nail, and she would revert instantly and kill whoever had taken it out. It sounds like superstition, a story mothers told to keep children close to home. But in November of 1965, a village outside Pontianak City gave the legend a case file. The wedding was supposed to be a celebration. A young woman, in surviving oral accounts referred to only as Siti, though the name may have been changed by those who retold the story, was to be married the following morning. Her family had been preparing for weeks. The village of Teluk Batang, on the outskirts of Pontianak, was small enough that everyone attended. According to witnesses interviewed decades later by folklorists documenting the region's oral history, the trouble began the night before the ceremony, when 3 young men were sent to gather palm leaves for the wedding canopy near a stand of banana trees at the edge of the jungle. They went as 3, only 2 came back. The 2 who returned told a story that would circulate through the village for years. A sweet smell had drifted through the trees, thick as perfume, and then turned instantly rancid, the smell, they said, of a corpse left in the heat. Their friend had frozen. When they turned to pull him back, they claimed a shape was already crouched behind him in the dark, pale, thin, its back arched unnaturally, its hair hanging over a face they refused to describe. The young man was found the next morning at the base of a banana tree, alive but unresponsive, his back covered in deep scratches that villagers said matched no animal known to the region. He never fully recovered his memory of that night. The wedding went ahead regardless. Postponing it was considered worse luck than the incident itself. But guests reported the scent of frangipani drifting through the ceremony with no source. An elder in the village, aware of the old remedies, was said to have driven an iron nail into the trunk of the nearest banana tree before the vows were spoken, a precaution passed down for generations. Whether it worked, no one can say for certain, but the bride, in later interviews, would only say one thing about that night, that she felt watched the entire time, by someone who did not want her to have what had been taken from another woman, long before any of them were born. Strip away the supernatural, and the Pontianak legend sits on top of something brutally real. For centuries, maternal mortality in childbirth across Southeast Asia was staggeringly high, and grief for women who died pregnant, along with the children who died with them, had nowhere culturally sanctioned to go. Anthropologists studying the legend point out that the Pontianak isn't simply a monster. She is closer to a warning shape given to an old and specific grief. What happens to a woman's rage when her death, and her child's death, are treated as private tragedy instead of public loss. The banana tree, the nail, the ritual of containment, these aren't just horror story mechanics. They're a community's attempt to give shape, and eventually peace, to something they had no other language for. That's likely why the legend never faded, even as Indonesia and Malaysia modernized. The Pontianak appears in Malaysian and Indonesian horror films to this day, still recognizable by the same signs villagers described in 1965. The scent of flowers turning to rot, the white dress, the sound of a baby crying in an empty field. Some say she's still out there, in the banana groves outside Pontianak city, still waiting for something no one can give back to her. If you ever smell frangipani where there are no flowers, don't wait to find out if it turns sour. If this is the first archive entry you've watched, welcome to Cursed Territory. Every week we unseal a new case file from the world's darkest folklore. Subscribe if you want to know what's still out there.